We are 6 days, 6 hours, 1 minute, 8 seconds away from the release of Hogwarts Legacy. Here to do one thing and one thing only, and that's blow up! What's going on, all my witches and wizards? As we inch closer and closer to the release of Hogwarts Legacy, the news is getting juicier and juicier. I'm gonna be reacting to Hogwarts fans are now worried. And if you like this type of content on the channel, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're brand new. I'm gonna be doing all kinds of content concerning Hogwarts Legacy all year long, so please be sure to do so, and comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are as we get ever so close to the release of Hogwarts Legacy. First off, let me shout out my guy Super Rebel, where this video comes from. Does a lot of Hogwarts Legacy content and other things on his channel, so please be sure to head on over to Super Rebel and drop a subscribe, drop a like on this video. But without further ado, let's get into Hogwarts Legacy fans are now worried. What they worried about?
So firstly, a Reddit user who went by the name Significant Spot 855 does actually have the game, and as far as I'm aware, all they said and made people aware of is that they have the game. They showed no gameplay and no spoilers, again as far as I'm aware. All they did is simply inform people, and well, their account has now vanished.
Yeah, yeah, Portkey, WB Games, Avalanche Games, they ain't got time for no crazy leaks. So they probably done already contacted old boy and was like, look, bruh, we will arrest you. Just like with the Grand Theft Auto 6 situation. Hey, I dig it. I dig it. Don't go on here leaking that stuff out if you got the game already. Hey, I can dig it. I don't want no spoilers. Let's go.
On top of that, somebody also shared a picture of their collector's edition, as in just the case, and they too have had a post removed. So what is going?
Yeah, they not playing. They not playing. Hey, I can dig it. Just a picture of the game, of the Ultimate Edition. The $300 edition of the game comes with the metal casing of the game and the floatable wand, and somebody posted a picture and it's already been taken down. Yeah, they not playing, bro. They not playing. I like it. I like it.
Going on, a question that every fan who's been in this loop is asking. Now this ties into reviewers still not receiving a copy of this game, or at least the ones that are being vocal about it anyway, and a lot of speculation is now roaming around saying how they don't want people to see the game's flaws, especially before the release. Now, I mean, if you can't tell already, the speculation is getting a little out of hand, as what's going on right now with reviewers still not getting the game is not completely unusual to happen. I mean,
Alright, so he's talking about the reviewers, like the gaming review companies that, you know, put out official game scores and stuff like that, not getting the game yet to review it, being problematic because they're saying that it's going to hide the flaws right up until release date so that they can dupe people into still buying the game, which I don't think that's the case at all, man. I think it's just the way times are now, and it's like they don't want to spoil anything about the game until it gets closer to time of release. And I'm, for one, okay with that. I don't read more into game reviewers not having the game to review until later. Like, that just, I really don't care what the game reviewers say anyway. Like, to be honest with you, I don't care if they give it a 1 out of 10. I'm still going to play it. Like, so whatever. What do y'all think about that? Do game review scores matter to y'all?
We've seen it to be a situation more recently with games where not all reviewers got the game in time, but it basically meant nothing. It was simply just a delay. But what are your thoughts on this? However, intentional or not, let me know below, because what people are also tying this down to as well is for people who got to experience the game early, though they had some great, of course, reviews, they were only limited, and apparently it was very limited. So this is where people are starting to get a little bit concerned as to what's going going on. Now, this game has made a very big sacrifice when it comes to performance, though it very much may well be a genius tactic to actually reduce complaints. So this game has two graphics options, so to say. You have fidelity mode, which is basically the 30 frames per second, and from what we've seen so far, it just gives incredibly crisp graphics, a ton of shadows, lighting effects, etc, etc. Overall, just perfect visually. Now, the second option is performance mode. However, the key difference here is that the game runs at 60 frames per second, making your gameplay butter smooth, but you actually lose a lot of the effects that you have in fidelity mode, which shows like the shadows, lighting, etc.
So before he goes any further, and I mentioned this in the last video, 60 frames per second versus 30 frames per second. And I've already seen comparisons to this. If you haven't seen it, Draw Raptor does an amazing job of showing the differences between the two. I think I'm going to go fidelity mode, barring the day one patch fixes some of the graphical issues with the performance mode. And it's not really an issue. It's just favoring performance over, quality. And I think most games do that now. But I think I'm going to go fidelity because it does make the game look 10 times different as far as graphical situations are concerned. What do y'all think? Do you know about that? Let me know down in the comments.
Now, overall, it almost seems to give a matte-like effect. Now, a lot of people have been speaking about this, and as you may have seen from the gameplay you've watched, you may notice that they do actually vary how they look visually. And despite there being that big of a comparison, when we've seen a side-by-side, as in close-ups, there doesn't seem to be that too much of a difference, so to say. But again, a key thing is how you want to experience this game. Do you want 60 frames per second? Or do you want 30 frames per second? But here's the issue, right? You may or may also not be already aware, but certain doors actually require a second or two before fully opening to render the texture, and we basically have like a little loading bar to indicate that it's happening. Now, this big concern here is that people are wondering that, with the 60 frames per second that makes the game run super smooth, why does it lose so many visual elements? And secondly, what does this mean for the last gen consoles if this is what the new gen consoles are experiencing?
So 30 frames per second, the loading time was quicker than the 60 frames per second. Like when someone was approaching a door, the door took like 2 seconds to open because it was loading in what was behind the door as open world, versus about 10 seconds on 60 frames per second. And that was one of the things where it was like, oh, hold up now. What's happening here? And again, I want people to take that with a grain of salt because this wasn't the final version of the game that they were playing. So, a lot of people are reading into that like, oh, this could be problematic when, man, the game ain't out yet. This isn't the final version that the creators were playing. So to me, okay, that could become problematic, especially on Xbox One and PS4 consoles when you talk about loading. But the power of the Series X, Series S, PC, and well, depending on what type of PC you have, and the PS5, those consoles were meant to perform much better and have less loading times than in the Xbox One and PS4. So I'm not really too much concerned about that because, again, that wasn't even the final version of the game that a lot of people were playing. But I totally understand where people are coming from. To me, it's just not an issue.
Now, here's my 2 cents. I've not played the game, so I don't think anyone is really qualified yet, so to say, is it a massive problem overall, as of course there will very much likely be small updates, the day one patch, etc. Secondly, for me personally, I'm not too bothered about the 60 frames per second. Sure, it is great and does look fantastic, and we are on the new gen consoles as well, so, it does kind of I guess you could say it's a standard, right, so to say at this moment in time. But for me, for instance, it's not a deal breaker. And lastly, negative reviews will indeed flood through for this game, but it's how you play it overall and what you consider a great experience, and especially whether you're going to get your money's worth or not. Also, a factor to take into account is that it's the game studio's first AAA title as well, so again, there's so many limitations as far as that goes as well. Now, leave your thoughts on this in the comment section below, but we know there are some evil things that you can do in Hogwarts Legacy, and I've listed.
So that's pretty much the end of his video. And again, like I said, shout out to Super Rebel for putting this forward. And I definitely want to know y'all's thoughts down in the comment section. Overall, what do you feel, about Hogwarts Legacy? I am not worried in the least bit because I'm going to play the game. I'm going to play 4 different houses simultaneously. I am bought in. So I'm not worried at all. And I am very optimistic about gaming as it is. So whenever a game comes out, I give it all the benefit of the doubt. So I'm really excited about this because how long have we waited, if you're a Harry Potter fan, for an immersive open world Harry Potter adventure? I am super excited and I can't wait to get my hands on it. And with that being said, that's all I got for y'all. Drop a like on the video if you like the video, comment down below, and subscribe if you're brand new. Hey, y'all already know what it is. Y'all already know what it was. It's your boy dubscp, here to do one thing and one thing only, and that's blow up! Deuces.